at some point in the future, we must have talked about this like a month ago as well, because it keeps popping up back in the news, is that at some point people will realize that gold simply isn't the right investment, and they would start selling off their gold and other precious metals in order to swap it into Bitcoin. For those of you who've never seen this chart, it is a very important chart. If you're not looking at the screen, I'll explain it for those of you who are. This bar right here, is basically if you had put $1 into Bitcoin or gold. It says over the course of 14.1 years. So basically 14 years, if you had put $1 into Bitcoin versus $1 into gold. This gold chart right here, this yellow one that's going up, this is what $1 in Bitcoin would have given you right there. This purple line right here represents that's going down, like literally, a mimic of it, is how much Bitcoin you would need to actually buy gold, I believe. Yes, per 1 ounce of gold. So it keeps going down because the more Bitcoin is worth, the less Bitcoin you need to buy gold. This line at the very bottom that's doing absolutely nothing is gold. Years ago, this wouldn't have made sense and would have been completely like, well, what in the world are you actually, like, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. Of course, gold is going to be better. But now with 14 years under its belt, and we can see exactly like the numbers, because numbers do not lie. If you had put $1 into Bitcoin, you would have $38 million. That is $38 million. If you had put $1 into gold the day that Bitcoin was released, you would have $1.94. You can't argue with these numbers. There is not going to be a point. There is not going to be a point where gold's price per ounce goes to 15,000. It's not going to 18,000. It's not going to 34,000. It is not going to 70,000. And I can say that with a relative sense of like actuality, because if you watch documentaries, if you watch anything about actual gold mining, since the early 1900s, we have only gotten better at digging further into the ground. We realize that gold is not as rare as people once thought it was because we keep finding more. The more technology we get, the further we're able to dig underground, the more gold that we find. As the years go on, we continue to improve our technology. We can dig even further into the ground and we keep finding that there's more gold than we previously thought before. In the 1800s, this would not be possible. So of course, you dig a couple layers down into the earth and you go, we can't go any further. Gold is extremely rare. But as we keep digging further, and now there are beliefs that, this is also true, but on asteroids, if we start landing machines on asteroids and also start digging within them as they're made from the same thing, all of the universe is made from the same things. Not sure if you all know that, science class. We will also find more precious metals in these things, further showing us exactly how unrare gold actually is. So a lot of the misconception over the last 10 years, especially from that guy, Peter Gold, or whatever this guy's name is on Twitter, is that gold was going to outperform Bitcoin. That's why I don't understand how this man remains popular. I can't imagine being incorrect for 14 years and still have people following me on Twitter. It just would not make any, it would not make any logical sense. $1 in Bitcoin would be $38 million versus $1.94 worth of gold. The expectation is at some point it's going to click for the vast majority of people who are holding gold as an investment, and they will come to realize that their investment has been terrible and they should not have gotten into gold. I don't know if I ever told you the story. I had a good friend years ago. We're not friends anymore. This was 2016, 2017, somewhere around there. And he was asking me, he said, it wasn't a good paying job, but he was making like adult money. And And he was like, okay, what should I put my money into? Because I was always talking about investing. And I said, crypto's extremely risky, but you're still young, so you can put your money into it, what have you. I said, don't put a lot. I can help you with it, yada, yada, yada. He came back to me a couple days later and told me that he spoke with another friend who was really into investing as well. And I said, cool. What'd you learn? I'm expecting to hear that he was going to buy stocks and maybe a couple of like high interest rate bonds, and he was going to make his money back slowly because crypto was too wild for him. Nope. He told me he hung out with this guy who told him that gold was the future. He said, in the future, fiat currencies are going to collapse and the only thing that people will want to use is gold. And I stopped him and I said, that's not going to happen. He said, no, wait. He said, you have to understand, he made so many good points. He kept on telling me that I should buy physical gold and I should hide it under my bed, or I should hide it in a sock and put it into the backyard. Or I should do so-and-so with gold, and I should also buy some silver. And he told me to buy a whole bunch of copper. And I was like, that's not how the world works. And that's not how the world is going to work in the future. So he said, cool, I'll do it this way. He bought a tiny fraction of Bitcoin. And I think he bought half an ounce or something like that of gold. And I remember I saw him a couple of years later, and we had the same discussion over again. And he was like, I wish I had never bought my gold because I understand exactly what you were saying, etc., etc., etc. I've had people here on this channel argue with me before. You can't argue with numbers. It's not like I'm saying something that's completely out of left field. Bitcoin hasn't been around for 6.5 months. If Bitcoin had to just been created, we could have a proper conversation. I can be like, okay, well, we're going to come back here in about 4 or 5 years and see what's actually going on. Gold continues to underperform around the world, and we also see that there are a lot of governments who are also selling gold. You will see articles on investment websites telling you that this random country and that country's buying gold. They're doing it for alternate reasons. It's because usually their economy is so far gone that they're trying to get back in the good graces of the World Bank. On the other hand, we've also seen the amount of people who've been selling their gold physically and their gold ETFs and their gold pieces of paper that they got from a bank that say, yeah, this is gold, here, take it. They're now selling these off as well and putting it into other investments. The idea being that, as we can see the chart in front of us, and gold continues to underperform, that we are going to have more people who know how to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and will understand that one of these investments is far better than the other.